everybody, welcome back to Rocky Mountain Homestead. My name is Angela if you're new, and in today's video I'm going to take you guys along and share with you how to make apple maple jam. This was a recipe that was requested by quite a few people when I did my Azure Standard haul and we bought a bunch of apples in bulk. I mentioned a few things I was going to be making with them, and this is one of them. So because I got quite a few comments asking to share the recipe, I'm going to take you guys along while I'm canning this today. And I'm also going to leave in the description box down below this book. This is the Ball Blue Book, Guide to Preserving. I'll leave a link if you're interested, but that's basically where I'm getting the recipe from. Found it a couple years ago and we fell in love with it. It is delicious. It's great to have up in your pantry, especially for the fall and winter months. It's got a delicious blend of different fall seasonings and spices. It's got maple syrup in it, and it's got little chunks of apples in it. It's so delicious, and it's so simple to make. So I'm going to take you guys along and share with you just how easy this is to get up in your pantry. For those of you who may be new to canning, I'm just going to share these steps. We're water bath canning, so you want to make sure your jars are washed up really well with soap and water. I have the jars simmering and the water is heated in the water bath canner, and I also have my funnel, I have my ladle, my jar lifter, I have my lids in warm water, I have my debubbler, a little bowl of vinegar. So what I have here is 3 quarts of chopped apples, which is about 6 pounds. So to get that, it was roughly 8 medium-sized apples for me. And I use the mix. You can use whatever you'd like to. I just use some Granny Smith and I use some Honeycrisp. And then over here, you're going to need 6 cups of sugar. I know, but I am following the book to a T, and that's what it calls for. I am using organic cane sugar. And then in here, I have 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground allspice, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 cup of cloves. And then over here, I just have some organic maple syrup. I have 1 cup of that. Okay, over medium-high heat, we're going to add all the ingredients together. So I drained my apples that were in the lemon water. To that, I'm going to add the 6 cups of sugar. I'm going to add all my spices, and I'm also going to be adding the maple syrup on top. Okay, and once you have all your ingredients in here, you're just going to mix this really well over medium-high heat, and you are going to be stirring until all the sugar is dissolved. So I am going to just mix this in and get it blended really well together. And what you're going to want to do is bring this mixture to a boil. So once we get to a boil, I will bring you back. All right, so after about, I don't know, I'd say maybe 15 minutes, we finally have this at a boil. It is at a rolling boil, which means that you cannot stir it down. So even though I am stirring, it is still boiling, and that's exactly what you want. So our heat is still over medium-high heat, and what you want to do is you want to stir to prevent sticking, but you want to boil this rapidly until the gelling point, which is 220 degrees. So I actually have a thermometer that I'm going to place in here. It's actually my candy thermometer, and I am going to just stick it in here and see where we're at. We want it to be about 220 degrees, and I am reading at 180, and I'm just going to stir it so it doesn't stick. We're at 190, almost 200. So I'm going to let this boil for a little bit. All right, you guys, so if you do not have a thermometer of any sort, you're going to want to cook this for at least 30 to 45 minutes until it thickens up and it starts getting to the gelling point. All right, you guys, it is finally at 220 degrees. So this basically has been boiling on medium-high heat for about 45 minutes. So now that we are at our gelling point, and real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off, and I'm gonna drop my heat down on my water bath canner because my jars have been simmering. That way they are nice and hot, and this mixture is nice and hot. So, okay, so I'm going to see, it might not be that thick, but sometimes you can tell with a metal spoon. Like if you can see, I just got the spoon wet with the liquid. If you run your finger through it, it is really hot, and it just basically stays and nothing runs into it. That's another way that you can tell it is at its gelling point. So I'm going to get my jars set up on the counter, and I'll bring you right back. Okay, I have everything over here now, and as you can see a little bit better now in this lighting, if you just take your finger and it stays like that, it is definitely at the gelling point, and this is such a beautiful mixture. It smells so good. All right, everything is set up. I have my funnel over here. These jars are really hot, and I'm actually going to use this and take this out, or actually just leave it here. And you're going to want to fill your jars to 1/4 inch of headspace. So I'm going to get these filled up. After your jars are filled, we're going to take our debubbling tool, and we're just going to remove as many air bubbles as we can before we check our headspace. So if you are new to canning, what you're going to see here is just little notches for 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and inch for headspace, and that's what you're going to check with. So I definitely think I'm good on all of these. Some of them could use a little bit more liquid, so might as well just use what we got. And I'm just going to pour a little bit more in these that need some more liquid. You are then going to want to take a clean cloth or a paper towel and dip it in some white distilled vinegar and go around the rims of your jars and the edges of the rims and just make sure all the stickiness of the mixture is off. That way when you put your lids on, it doesn't compromise any of your seals. Okay, so I just want to ask, does anybody else still put their lids when water bath canning in warm or hot water? I know it's not recommended anymore. I think Ball announced it back in 2014, 2015, that you only need to wash them in warm, soapy water, but I don't know what it is. I still put them in water, warm water. So just want to see if I'm the only one who still does this. I've done it for so long. It's kind of just a habit now that I do. I've got my rings over here, so we're just going to put them on fingertip tight, and these jars are still very hot. Trying to make sure I'm putting it on fingertip tight. My hands, believe it or not, are pretty calloused with everything I do. So let's see, I'm gonna actually, you should not move your jars, but I did hold that pretty level. You don't want the liquid to come up under your seals. All right, one more to go. All right, it is time to get these beautiful things into the water bath canner. All right, so this is what a rolling boil looks like, and that's what you want to bring your water bath canner to. The original recipe calls for 10 minutes, but you increase it depending on your altitude. We are 7,600 feet, so that's going to be 25 minutes that I need to process these for. In the front of this book, yes, my book is very loved, don't mind, as you can see here. So if you are at 0 to, my dog has to go out, sorry. If you are at 0 to 1,000 feet, you are going to do just the 10 minutes. If you are 1,001 to 3,000 feet, you're going to increase your time by 5 minutes. If you are 3,001 to 6,000 feet, you'll increase it by 10 minutes. And if you're 6,001 feet to 8,000 feet, you'll increase it by 15 minutes. And then if you're 8,001 feet to 10,000 feet, you'll increase it with an additional 20 minutes to the 10 minutes. So like I said, 15 minutes. So mine is going to process for a total of 25 minutes. Okay, and it is done processing. We are going to take our lid off, and I am just going to set a timer for 5 minutes and let these cool off for 5 minutes. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. What I'm going to do is let these sit for 12 to 24 hours before taking the rings off. And then once I get the rings off, I just like to get some warm soapy water in the sink and just clean in between where the ring was on these and the edge of the rim of the jars and get them washed up and labeled and up on the pantry shelf. I hope you guys give this a try, especially those of you who were wondering what this recipe was. It's really delicious. It's got a lot of yummy flavors for this time of year, and it's perfect for the fall and winter months. My kids love it. Like I said, we're down to our last jar, so I have 8 more half pints to get up on the shelf. And it's very easy to make up. Also, take into consideration that jams can take 24 to 48 hours to fully set up after canning. So sometimes even, 12 hours after, it might look a little bit on the liquidy side, but it will set up if you let it go to the 220 degree gelling point. It will set up. So sometimes it just takes a little bit longer in jams for that pectin to fully set up. So once again, I hope you found this video helpful. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you have not yet subscribed, I'd greatly appreciate it if you considered subscribing and joining our channel. I will chat it up with you guys in the comment section for the first hour after this video posts. So if you have any questions that I did not answer in the video, let me know. And I will see you guys on the next video. Until then, take care and God bless.